What's up guys, so welcome to another video, and today we're going to speak about Windows 10 Mobile. So I'm gonna try to say if it's worth it to upgrade to Windows 10 or you should stay in Windows 8 or 8.1, and how many people are different, different tastes, different, everything. I'm gonna try to cover all the aspects. So I have the Windows Insider on this Lumia 640 XL. It's the latest build until now. Let me show you the build number, which is 10.5.86.63, and so far it runs good, but it's not perfect. Of course, it has some bugs here and there, and it's not so smooth as Windows 8.1, let's say like that. And let me try to first show you the bugs that I found. I think they are bugs. Maybe they are features from Windows 10, but I think they are bugs. So as you can see, I went into the settings and I went back, but when I press, they still stay on the background. So in Windows 8.1, when you went into something and you press the back button, they just close. But here, if I press back button, it stays on the background. So I think it should be a bug, because if I press back and I go out from that application or settings, it should close, not stay in background. But yeah, this is one bug. It may not be good for someone. For me, I just got used to it, or sometimes I just let it on background and I say fuck it. And second bug that I found, it's not a major bug, but yeah, it's there. So when you open Microsoft Edge, it's not always that it shows this bug. So that's why I think it's a bug. For example, when you search for a website, you can see here this menu with my old searches. When I press enter, it doesn't show always. So now it doesn't show again. But when you press to search for some website, you can see this white menu. And when you press enter, it opens the website, and that white menu, it still stays on the screen for like 5 seconds. But as you can see, it doesn't show always. It's the second time that I record and this one doesn't show. It's letting me down. But even today I was searching for a website and this white menu, it showed up. So it doesn't show always. I will try to record it after I record this video, and I will try to cut it and to show you that this bug is there. And as for any other bugs, there's no many other major bugs, only like app crashing, for example, like Skype, like how it's the old version from Windows 8.1. It doesn't work quite good on Windows 10, so I tested it. I was on Skype with my brother for like 4 or 5 hours, and Skype crashed and I couldn't open the Skype again. So I should restart the phone to be able to start Skype again, or any others. For example, as you can see, Windows M Power User, it's their new application for Windows 10. As you can see, it opens quite very slow, but what you can do about that? But it opens very slow. So this is like the main bugs about this OS. Let me try to type, for example, app crash. If you are worried about app crash, then don't install. No, if you want the smooth of Windows 8.1, then don't update, because this Windows 10, it's not as smooth as Windows 8.1, and also the apps, background apps that doesn't close automatically, then don't update, because this is not a final version, and how it's for testing, it's not for everyone. But in a few weeks or even in a month, there will be a final release of Windows 10. But I still think it will come with these bugs or features, because the build, it's almost the same build on the official release. So if you're worried about this main tree, options, then don't update to Windows 10. But if you're not so worried about sometimes an app to crash, or if it's not so smooth as Windows 8.1, or the apps stay always on the background, not always, some close, some doesn't close, and even if you keep opening apps, you will see here like maximum 10 or 15 apps. When you keep opening, it will delete older apps, so it's not quite of a big deal, but for some it might be a big deal. And also, I mean, the design, it's different from 8.1. Many people doesn't like these new lifestyles, or doesn't like this search bar on the app menus. Everyone is different, or doesn't like the new application. For example, when you go in store, this hamburger menu on the corner, all that stuff. Let's put it here also. Wait, hamburger menu, then don't. So if you're worried about all these four, then don't update. As you can see here, I have the hamburger menu. This is like the new universal application from Windows, but yeah. So if you don't, if you are worried about these problems, then don't update. Now let's speak about when you update from Windows 8.1 to Windows 10 through the Windows Insider, or when it will be the official release, or if you have very old builds. For example, now we are in 10.5.86. If you are in the build, for example, 10.20.43, just an example, and now it's 10.5.86, you can see the difference from the builds. It's quite big. So when the difference from the builds is big, then you should do a hard reset. You come here on the settings, let me show you, system, about, and you do a reset your phone, because when there is a big difference from the builds, then for example, when you have bugs here on this build, and on this build these bugs, they were corrected, they are still not 100% corrected, because like this build will try to replace this build, so it will do like this, it will replace the old files, but it will still remain some bugs. So because of that, you'll have to do a reset your phone. And also the same thing when you update from Windows 8.1 to Windows 10, because let me show you Windows 8.1 and Windows 10. So how they are two different OSs. Okay, one is old, one is new. Maybe they're not so different, but the kernels are different. So the main system is different. So when you are trying to install a new Windows, it will overwrite on the old Windows. So this is almost the same thing as here, because it will try to overwrite on the old files on the old OS, and it will still not be 100% free of bugs. So when you update from an old Windows to a new Windows, this is for Windows Mobile. This is the same for Windows 4 PCs. This is the same for Androids. Let's say Androids. It's the same for all OSs. When you upgrade or you update from an old OS to a new OS, if the difference are big, then you should always do a hard reset, because the OS will not run 100%. But when the difference is not big, for example, now I have, let's do a new page. For example, now I have the build 10.5.86, and Microsoft releases next week the build 10.5.96. Let's say like this. As you can see, the build number, it's not so the difference between the builds, it's not so big. So this means there will not be so many new features or many bug corrections. So because of that, there's no need to do a hard reset, or in Android, when there is, like, for example, Android 5.01, and then Android updates to 5.1.1. There's not many difference in this build. So this build, it will have like battery improvements or some bug corrections between this build, so it's not worth to do a hard reset. But when there comes Android 6.0, then you should do a hard reset, because this is an old OS and this is a new OS. So it's the same for Windows 10. So because I saw many people, they update from the Windows 8.1 to the new Windows 10, and then say, oh, it's really buggy, or it's really slow, or it really crashes. Or like I had on my old Lumia 925, I was on the Windows Insider from very beginning builds, and I kept updating, and I actually saw many of bugs that were on previous builds. They kept being on the new build, so only with a reset they were gone. So yeah, but if you're not worried about this, let me show you. If you're not worried about these four problems, then you should update, because it's a new OS. It's a let's say it's a bit different OS. Many apps that are here, they are different and work only on Windows 10. For example, let me show you TuneIn. This app, it was updated with a new Windows 10 design. It's quite slow, not so fast, but this design, you will have it only on Windows 10. For Windows 8.1, you'll not have the same version as this one. So if you want to test it, if you have a Windows 8.1, go into store and search for TuneIn, and you will see that you will have the old version of this TuneIn, and many other apps. If they are updated, they will work only on Windows 10. They will not work on Windows 8.1. So that's the main problem. And also, one good point that you should update if you are not worried about that a bit crashes, it's Word, Excel, PowerPoint. They are really different and really good comparing to Windows 8.1. It feels like a Word from PC. You can create easily a file, a document, or you can edit easily a document. It's really different from Windows 8.1, and I like that. Then Groove Music, for some it might be good, for some it might be not. But Groove Music is a good improvement from the old Xbox Music. And Outlook, the app for emails, it's really different, it's really improved. It might not be at 100% because it doesn't work at 100%. They are still adding new features, but it's really different from Windows 8.1. So that's also a big positive aspect that you should consider to update. As for any others, messaging app, yes, it's also a bit different, but not so many new features. They integrated Skype with messaging, but it's still not 100% working correctly, because not always I receive the calls through the integration with messaging. So I received the call on Skype application. The store also got updated, but it doesn't run so fast, but it got updated from the old one. And as you can see, just go here, download and updates, and it tells you which updates you have, new updates you have, or it shows here at the, let's go into home. Let's go into home and come on. Home, and you can see here this arrow, and you have the new updates. It's a bit modified from the old store from Windows 8.1. It's a good improvement. As for any others, let me show you here. System extras, equalizer on Windows 8.1. It was called audio and not equalizer, but I mean the design is a bit different. It's almost the same, so it's not like a big improvement. As for any others, glance screen, it's still there if your device receives has this option for glance screen. Here on the extras, it's almost the same. Settings, it's also almost the same. I mean, there's no like new features. Yeah, the new features it's only on personalization. Yeah, but I mean, there's still the same settings for network and Bluetooth camera. It's still kind of the same. But for example, as you can see here, I have this background, and this background I change it, or I change it. It changes every day from Bing. For example, as you can see on the lock screen, it's this background. This is from Bing, as you can see, from Bing. And this application dynamic theme, it also changes my background images from Bing every day. So as you can see, it also synchronizes through my other devices like tablet or PC. And this application doesn't work on Windows 8.1 because of the APIs and kernels and all that bullshit. But many applications doesn't work on Windows 8.1 just because Windows 8.1 it has different APIs and works a bit different from Windows 10. And yeah, but also about the battery on Windows 10, with this device I go through the full day with Windows 10, but it's a bit worse than Windows 8.1 in this device, because in this device with Windows 8.1 I was going with full, like I'm using Windows 10, I was going with 1.5 day, but now I go 1 day, let's say 1 day. I don't want to say 1.5, or I go 1 day, so half day it's gone. But for me it's okay, because I mean the OS requires much more than Windows 8.1. Email, it's different, so my email synchronizes. When I receive an email, I have like 5 emails. When I receive an email, the email pops up right on the screen that I have a new email. As you can see, all the apps stays on the background, and if you have to close it, or you just leave them there. Or then, I mean, this background just requires more battery, more energy. Messaging also requires more, because it's a bit different than Windows 8.1, so that's why the battery might be a bit worse than Windows 8.1. But even with new builds, I don't think Microsoft will make so much better the battery than it is now. So I don't think it's worth to wait for many other new builds to update, because this build is already it's like 90% stable. It's not 100, of course, because it could be much faster, but it's like 90% stable. Let's open Windows Central. I mean, it opens the apps, it opens quite okay, but application that they are made for Windows 8 or 8.1 doesn't open so fast on Windows 10. But as you can see, this is still from Windows 8. But you go into Home, it goes normal, smoothly. It doesn't like lag. It opens quite okay. Storage, you can go there, storage. You can open Store. I mean, the multitasking, it's working perfectly. There's no bugs about that. Let's open Word again. And what you can maybe encounter in these builds is sometimes the application crashes. But as for any other, I think you should update if you are not worried about that 4 aspects that I told you. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and let me know your thoughts.